Well, I'll tell you what, some days are just feeling it. And this is the right energy to be working on the car. It was really cool out tonight, no wind. Uh, it's almost 4 in the morning. So I've been grinding away at this. I'll show you guys what I've been up to. All right. So we've got the majority of our stuff dialed back in. Everything with the powder coating and reassembly, the water pump housing. I need to go find small miscellaneous things like the cap for the coolant reservoir. I need to shift the motor down with the competition motor mounts, which are not here yet. All my lines have been slightly relocated. I've got that fitting just came in today, so I'll install that later. The clutch will be power bled with the new power bleeder. Yeah, I'm sorry. This lighting up here is really bad for filming. I'm sure you guys have noticed this, but this is a lot prettier in person. So yeah, once the motor drops, this will kick over naturally. What's happening right now is it's twisting over because of this being too tall, which is what's creating the same gap here. You got the primary rail with its fuel pressure damper, the oil metering pump injectors, the oil metering pump itself, and I'm going to end up taking this one right here and rotating this, clocking it this way, this direction, which will suck this back away like it's supposed to be. Right now these fittings are too close. This dash 6 will be capped off. This will be capped off. And yeah, so PK, great RX-7 guy, old school, goes by Bump Start in the forum from way back in the day. And he explains very well the coolant flow passage to a turbo. And what would normally happen is you'd have the coolant go in through the cold side of the engine. This would be the turbo feed, and then it would return on the suction side right here to, essentially it's the hot part. We just it makes sense, you know. There's a lot of theory behind that, but it's the opposite of our standardized flow siphon effect. So I can definitely see how that makes sense for some applications. I personally don't like it. I'm glad I did what I did. So I've got my water right off here, the cold side post pump. Inside this, by the way, Moroso has different sized hole, what they call like a bypass restrictor. And so instead of running a thermostat, you have a hole right in the center of this thing, and you change the diameter of that hole depending on how slow you want to make it go through your radiator. So right now I've got the medium sized blue one in there. It matches the blue car. I was like, yeah, you know, that's a sign. I'll do this one. And we'll just see if that needs to be more restrictive to slow down the flow. In other words, if the car runs too cold, I run a smaller diameter. If the car runs a little bit too hot, run a larger diameter. And we always want to have electric water pump overhead. So let's say our operating usage will not be 100% duty cycle. We want it to be closer to like 60% duty cycle. So if we're really hard on the car, it has ample overhead to add another 40% duty cycle to the electric water pump to really get things rolling. It's something that, again, a lot of people overlook. This is just Another thing that infuriates me with people that rush builds, and so you guys get to see here that obviously I go through crazy amount of steps, I would say, to get through certain things. Yes, I do have parallel fuel rails. Yes, they are both damped. It's very important to me to have a working O&P, because if the scenario works out, where I think it will, and I'm able to add a deceleration fuel cut, my Grand Touring car might somehow get, in the 20s for MPG, which is crazy to think about, but, having an exotic car, doing exotic things with it, it just all seems to make sense to me. I found a bunch of my other stuff, but I'm still not finding some of the critical finishing parts, so gonna keep digging. Yeah, I'm definitely tired, but there you go, the V-mount. So I'm gonna take the intercooler out tomorrow. I'm going to steel it, these little rust spots right here, so this will all be cleaned up. I'll just cover everything, steel it, make it all beautiful. And I've got a few small parts underneath, like right at the frame rails right here on either side. It has the smallest bit of surface rest, so again, I'll take the wire wheel to it, make it beautiful, and give it some steel it, and call it a day. So got to use up that $40 can of goodness. Updates for the powder coating, which is kind of our small things left over. All these cover plates, this one and this one over here, are done up in the bronze. The plumbing is mostly done. Now I can make my dash 4 line and swap out these bolts here. The alternator cover is the last real piece of the puzzle with powder coat stuff, and even though all the pulleys are done, that cover is a very beautiful centerpiece of the car. So Aaron and I have redone it probably 4 times now to really make it pop. And sadly, on camera, this is not doing this justice at all. It is gorgeous. The color differences are really, really apparent in person. And I think it's because of this 5,000 Kelvin light above it. It's not doing the car justice. But it's very pretty. So tomorrow I'll probably make a few lines, do some forehand to my fitting down there for the turbo. I'll do my dash 10s. This one I'm still waiting for the fitting, which is funny because I got the 45-degree full flow one, which I thought would be way harder to find. I got that one in 2 days. This one has been 7. I just don't understand how the easy parts are harder to get right now. But yeah, just going through it all and rerouting stuff, and I'm finding really small things that I've tried to correct and tweak because the motor mount height has changed. So I'm sure that if I took these motor mounts here and I really crushed them down with torque, I can get them to factory height, but it wasn't worth it. $240, whatever, for competition mounts. Be done with it. Never think about it again. And again, holy fucking shit. If you guys have a turbo and it does not free spin, right now, see, it's tight. Something is angry with, see, that's loose. Okay, here we go. That is what we're worried about, okay? So if, for whatever reason, there we go, the compressor cover's fully on now it free spins, okay? This is something that I would worry about for any of my client cars. If that does not spin freely, you have a misalignment. Like, obviously this is massively misaligned from the height, but this, again, very heavy, much heavier, not than this, but compared to this center housing, this weighs nothing compared to this, So make sure your turbo is properly aligned. And that'll do it for today. I'll hit it hard tomorrow to go through the final adjustments for a lot of the stuff. This is kind of mocking up, remembering, finding parts, organizing stuff. I polished O&P, the recirc blow-off valve. Here, actually, I'll show you guys. Looks brand new. I think I paid like $27 for this thing. Drive-by-wire. So, yep, getting back to it, and catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.